Hello there, Sev here from Motorhome Dealer Group, and welcome to this video guide on the Schaudt LT 500 control panel that you see here in front of me. This particular example though is branded Adria, but this is a Schaudt LT 500 panel nonetheless. Now this video is going to go through how to use the panel and how to interpret the information it provides. We will not be going into anything deeper such as troubleshooting or anything like that. That is beyond the scope of this video, and I always do recommend that you read your instruction manuals or seek the help of a professional if you are having issues. Otherwise, this will be a surface level guide just to help you get up and running and understand how to use this panel. So let's get started. So first things first, we have a couple of buttons up here, a few buttons down here, and then obviously some LEDs. And it can look quite confusing at first. Then you'll look at it and think, oh, this makes sense. And then you start pressing buttons and then it immediately looks confusing again. But this is what this video is for. It's going to help straighten everything out for you. So first of all, these buttons are actually 3-position sprung loaded buttons, so they always tend to the center position, and you can push them one way or the other, and then like I say, they'll always spring back to the middle. So this first one over here allows us to turn on or off the 12-volt system, turn on or off our water pump. So there we go. We now are live with the 12-volt system, and I'm not sure if it shows up on camera, but the lights in this particular vehicle have now turned on. And of course I can press it again, the same side, and it will turn off. So that's on there, and the same with the water pump. I can turn it on or off by using that side of the switch. This light here indicates that we are plugged into mains electricity, so that's a nice indication there to show that that is the case. Then down here we have, again, these sprung loaded buttons. One is for checking battery information, the other is for checking water tank information. Now, before I start pressing these, let me describe how the LEDs are going to be presented. Basically, we have an LED display, and that is going to be used in up to 3 different ways depending on what you're checking. The first way is as a percentage. So if you look at this blue scale at the top here, we have 0, 25, 50, 75 and 100, and percentage right there. The next scale is going to be amps. So this is going to be amps when we're checking batteries. And then we have volts at the bottom here, again for checking batteries. So when I press one of these buttons here, we are going to essentially be able to cycle what these LEDs are representing through from percent to ammeter to volts. So let's give it a go. So if I press it once, there you go. We can see we have percentage highlighted up here. So these LEDs are telling us the capacity as a percentage. We're looking at the yellow line. So the yellow LEDs are right the way up to the top. Now, the other coloured LEDs to either side, these are denoting when we are in sort of good areas or bad areas of the scale. So if we were around 25% or lower, we would be in the red range, the sort of caution or warning range, and anywhere above that is typically into the green. So that's how that's being represented. Now, if I press again, we cycle to the ammeter now, and as you can see, we are seeing a nice big green amount there, and we are showing around 0.15 amps there. So let me get back to amps. The next one we're going to show is volts. And again, we have a similar sort of set of coloured markings to show if we're healthy or in a bad range. And then the actual reading in yellow showing, if we look at the voltage scale, so if I get back to that, there we go, we're somewhere around 14.2 volts. Brilliant stuff. So that's how that works. So it's very, very simple and easy once you know how to interpret what those different scales and LEDs mean. Now I've disconnected mains from the vehicle. You can see that confirmed here by having this LED extinguished. If I go to the battery information now, we still have 100% capacity. On the ammeter now, we have a red scale and the LED. So it's showing us that we're draining now because it's red, and we're draining at around 7 amps there of energy from the battery. So when the ammeter is red, that means we're draining, and when it's in green, that means we're putting energy in. And then again, we go to the voltage, which you can still see is very good. It's now dropped down to 13.2 volts there. So that's what it will look like, or how it will represent itself when you are wild camping or essentially not connected to mains electricity with the battery charger running. And now again, just in case you did miss it the first time, we're plugged back into mains electricity, as you can see here. And now the ammeter is showing in green to show that we're putting energy in. And of course the voltage has peaked up a little bit. So that's how we check the battery information there. The next battery we can check here is the vehicle battery if we point it towards the front of this motorhome picture. So we've been checking the leisure battery up to now. This will be the vehicle battery. We get the capacity. Oh no, sorry, we don't. We're getting the voltage. So that's the voltage now. As you can see, we get a voltage reading. And no matter how many times I press this, we're only getting the voltage reading for the vehicle battery here on this particular instance. So you get the more detailed information for the leisure battery, but only voltage information for the vehicle battery. Lastly, there is an LED here. When your leisure battery drops low, then this will alert you here that you do need to think about charging the battery up again. So now let's go over to the water tanks. As you can see here, we have inlet and outlet essentially. So that's fresh tank and waste tank. So if I press here, we are seeing the percentage, okay, and that's all we're going to see. And you can see the red range and the green range. So on the fresh tank, the red range is when it starts to get low. And at the moment, we're about half full, as you can see there. And of course, this will go up or down accordingly, or the yellow part will. On the waste tank, the LEDs switch around. We've got some green LEDs up here and red there because, of course, as we get fuller, that's worse for a waste tank. You don't want it full. So at the moment, it's empty, so there's no yellow indication, but which is, of course, in the green zone. So as you can see, the red and the green areas or sectors of the scale do change accordingly, depending on what tank you're viewing. So again, just to recap, turn on or off your 12-volt circuit here. Turn on or off the power to your water pump here. We can then check your leisure battery by pressing this switch over to the left. First of all, we see the battery as a percentage indicated using the yellow scale, and then we have coloured sectors to denote whether we are in good or bad ranges on that scale. The next scale we have, if we press the same button again, is the ammeter. Again, if it's green, it means we're charging or putting energy into the battery. If it's red, then we will see that means we're draining. And lastly, we can press the same button again to go to voltage. And again, we get red and green areas to show what is a good, healthy range for that battery. Going to the vehicle battery, by pressing the other switch, we only see voltage information. We do not see any other information, no matter how many times we press the button. Mains electric is indicated with the illuminated LED there. And then here we have our tank checking. So if we press this one to the left, this is our fresh tank. We get a percentage indication only for the water tanks. And again, we have red and green ranges. And then the one to the right there is your waste tank, showing red and green ranges as well for that tank. And that is it. That is how to use the Schaudt LT 500 control panel. And whilst, like I say, confusing at first glance, it's actually quite a simple panel to use and gives you lots of information. But I hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.